Have you ever encountered a situation that you wish you could erase from your memory, or that you want people to forget ever happened? It could be an embarrassing memory, a heated argument, or even a traumatic event that keeps haunting you. Well, guess what? You can. So if you're ready, I'll show you exactly how easy it is to change your past and step into a brighter future. To begin with, let me tell you a time when the power of revision saved my career. Years ago, when I was just starting my manifestation journey, my boss approached me demanding to see the results of an urgent assignment that he was due to present to his seniors the following day. As I put my heart and soul into the project, I was pleased with the results and was keen to hear his response. How wrong was I? As I presented my work, I was met with anger and frustration. It seemed that I'd misunderstood his instructions, and he was furious. After a lot of shouting and swearing, he got up from his chair and informed me he had to leave for the day, and I had to deal with the consequences the following morning. I was shaken to my core. I don't know how I drove home without crushing, but I was okay. But after several hours, I was still mulling over the entire conversation and envisioning what horrors I would face on my return. I couldn't let this setback define my career. That's when I remembered the power of revision, a technique I had been exploring. With only one night to resolve the situation, I had to forego my usual doubting and completely trust that the process would work. So in bed that night, I decided to rewrite the narrative, beginning with the declaration that the horrendous event never occurred, and then visualize a scenario where my boss praised my work and recognized my efforts. I immersed myself in his positive vision, replaying it in my mind until it felt real. The next day I walked into the office with renewed confidence, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. To my surprise, the atmosphere was different. My boss greeted me with a smile, expressing appreciation for my work. It was a complete turnaround from the previous day's hostility. That's when I knew I had revised my past. Since then, I have used this process on so many occasions I can't count, as it's so effective. So are you ready to get started? Let's begin. So how does this work? Throughout your life, you've probably been told that you have to accept your past because you can't change it. In a way, this is true, but let me elaborate. We often perceive time as linear, but in reality, we experience it as if we're constantly shifting from one timeline to another. The timeline we shift into is influenced by our thoughts. If we constantly dwell on the same thoughts, each timeline will appear identical. In each timeline, the story seems predetermined, making it appear impossible to alter the past. However, when we change our memories, we're actually creating new memories in the present moment. Consequently, we shift to a different timeline where both the past and the future are different. The irony lies in the inability to prove that we have changed, as we cannot access the past from the old timeline, making it impossible to find evidence of its existence. Those around us won't remember the old past because it never existed for them. Consider this scenario. On a different timeline, the internet collapsed for several months in 2010, plunging the world into chaos. You wouldn't be able to find evidence of this event through Google or social media on this timeline as it never existed. This realization highlights how malleable reality truly is, with you being the one in control of it. Now let me show you how to use the process. The amazing thing about revising your past is that you can do it in so many ways. It's up to you. To begin with, let me show you the traditional way which I used in the story about my boss. This method is brilliant if you enjoy visualizing using SATs, a state akin to sleep. It's best to perform just before falling asleep, as you are providing your subconscious with clear instructions which speeds up the results. But it is possible to use this method at any other time where you can find a quiet place to be relaxed and won't be disturbed for several minutes. Make sure you're in a position where you won't drift off to sleep too soon. Then quiet the mind. Switch off the day's events. The idea is to get you into a void space where the 3D world doesn't exist. This is where the magic happens. This might take a few minutes, so don't worry. If a thought pops up, just dismiss it and focus back onto the void space. Or visualize the memory you want to change. When did it happen? What happened? How did it make you feel? Imagine it being wiped out with an eraser so that you can get a blank screen. Next, visualize the scene you actually want to happen. Again, what happened? How did you feel? Repeat the scene until you fall asleep. If you want to cement the new memory, repeat the exercise for several nights until it feels real to you. But what if you don't enjoy or aren't good at visualizing? No problem. You can write out the revised scene multiple times. By focusing on what you're writing, your mind will be in a perfect relaxed state to accept the new instructions. Do you have to create an entire scene for the process to work? Absolutely not. In fact, nowadays I simply decide the event situation never happened. Then I repeat phrases like, that never happened, or I have no memory of it. Knowing that once I have made a decision, I instantly shift to a different timeline where the event situation never took place. It's like being a stubborn child by refusing to accept the past. I did this when changing a diagnosis, as I refused to accept it as my reality. The beauty is, you don't even have to keep repeating this if you don't want to. Just declare it and then get on with your life, as long as you have accepted that you have instantly shifted to a new timeline where the new story will play out. For extra potency, you can also add in a revised scenario like, this happened instead, or no, it happened this way, and describe a bit of what happened. For example, if your man has been ghosting you for a few weeks, say, I have no memory of that. My man contacts me all the time. The point is you get to choose how you want to change the past, as you make all the rules. So and what memories can you change? The simple answer is anything. If you messed up in a presentation, revise it so you presented like a pro and observe the difference it makes. And with the declaration approach, you can say, it never happened. Nope, I presented like a pro. If you had an argument where your specific person treated you badly, rewrite the scene where you were treated like a god or goddess. This even works with events that feels like they are set in stone, such as receiving a rejection letter for a job or bank loan. The key is to assume that your future can change. This happened to me when another person beat me to my desired house. I changed the scenario so that the vendors accepted my offer instead. Within a month, the estate agents came back to me and offered me the house. The power of revision is so potent in that it allows you to change a situation that's affected you for a very long time, like a dramatic event. One of Neville Goddard's testimonials describes a man who had been suffering from a lifetime of excruciating back and hip pain, which impacted his life significantly. When he analysed when the pain started, the man realised he could trace it right back to childhood, to a specific event where he fell off a swing. So with this process, he went back to the event and rewrote the scenario where he never fell off. Instead, he just enjoyed the experience and then walked away unharmed. Within a month, the pain had gone. As we delve into the final point, if you enjoy the insights shared in this video, click the like button as it helps share the video to a wider audience. And for more thought-provoking content, I'd love you to join our community by subscribing. Another way this process can help is by changing a limited belief. The belief could be that you always get dumped, or you feel you're always single. Like with the previous example, the belief could stem from a specific event which then marked your life, like being rejected by your school crush. In this case, rewrite that event so that it happens exactly as you would have preferred it to be. Alternatively, you can simply declare that it never happened and that you always get asked out. Repeat the affirmation or say, of course he asked me out, as I always get the guy. Then see yourself as this person who is so popular and always get asked out. There's no point in putting effort into cleaning up any undesired past memories if your future isn't improving, as your desires are taking too long to manifest. This video will reveal what's delaying your manifestations and how to fix it.